he's got track events, that kids' safety is our main concern. So when Mr. Collins comes back to us and says, you know, that I've got 4 kids over here, perfect example, pole vaulting, a little bit dangerous, okay?
Yeah, a little bit.
So I think we need to make sure we pay attention to that factor first, and that's what we will do. And again, you know, as far as the revenue that's generated, along with the revenue, there are expenses. Until we do a full evaluation of each of those sporting events and where we really come out, we can't say for sure. These are loose numbers. We started to look into it this year because, again, we do see the crowds growing. We see a lot of interest. The community is buying into it. There's some spirit going. So we want to see just really what is the value to it, and is it something that we should be expanding in. So we will evaluate each one. But you've got a very good point, Nikki. Mr. Collins?
Just to add a quick comment. I think that all I as a coach would be looking for would be just equal treatment across the board when it comes to, you know, awarding those positions, you know, with certain things taken into consideration. So, you know, we realize, our entire athletic coaching staff realizes that we're in a tight financial situation, and you know, just looking for fairness across the board, and maybe even provide us with options to potentially raise the funds to pay for additional coaches through criteria set by the board is definitely an option. And we'd be willing to do, just as long as everyone else would be required to do it.
Play by the same rules. Yeah. And that's a great point. And I know you've used volunteers in the past,
yes,
as has the football team. You know, those are all things that, you know, you've investigated each of those options. But again, until we do a full investigation and say, you know, what is the cost related to that sport? What are we really doing? Is it justified? Isn't it? You know, I don't want to talk in generalities, but your point is very well taken, Nikki, and yours as well. So, thank you.
Just a quick question on that, actually more of a statement. I agree with Justin. His numbers and his program have been a consistent winner at Western since I was in high school, going back 10 years now. And one thing I've had discussions with is, if the board sets the same clearances that we do with our coaches, in the booster club that many of our sports do have, raise the funds to match an assistant coach salary, could the board put into place a policy that would enable them to be hired with funds from the booster club to help them in their mission to make the program better? Especially with the financial aspect. I mean,
In principle, it sounds good.
It does.
I'd have to
question.
find out.
Yeah,
we
thought
have
about
to
it. Charlie, but does every sport have a booster club foul?
Just about.
Just about?
Just about.
Because one of the questions Justin made, I think if it's consistent across the board, and I agree with that statement. I think that's perfect. You know, if everyone followed suit, that's my only drawback to a statement like that, is a policy in place for that, if it was consistent across the board.
My only point was, if they are supplying the funds,
Right.
and it's not taxpayer dollars, that we are creating new, this is all new money if we were to add coaches, okay, because it wasn't budgeted. When we added the coaches for 2 years ago, the football and the track coach, that was new money that wasn't budgeted. So if these gentlemen want to go out and they want to put their blood and sweat into fundraising to help their programs, I see nothing but praise and gratification for
And
their
again,
hard work.
in principle, it sounds good. What we have to investigate is IRS. How are they paid? Are they paid under our EIN number? It's not our money. Are we charging them to hire a coach? Those are the things we just need to work out. And I agree. In principle, it sounds good. Certainly, if we look at other groups, non-sporting events, if we look at our band, look what they do with their fundraising. I mean, they do a tremendous job. We have other groups who are active. You know, but we just want to make sure that we don't get Miss Emmett put in jail again. And they're the type of things we have to look into. In principle, I think it's a great idea. And again, Justin, over the years, you know, you've brought a lot of good things to our program, and you know, we appreciate that. So we will investigate it and see, you know, what is the best answer for everybody.
Mr. Hollister, on the January 7th meeting when you had the proposals for advertisers, what has come of that meeting? I haven't heard anything recently. I was wondering. Nothing.
Very little.
Because
we didn't see a proposal like we thought we would see.
Okay.
What we had was a general discussion,
All right.
and the board was asked, you know, what you expect out of a program like that.
Right.
I think it would be different if we were a city school in the middle of somewhere and we had an opportunity, and this was the one example the gentleman had. You've got property where you can put up billboards and, generate the revenue from some of those billboards and that type of thing.
Okay.
But we didn't see anything that really
Wasn't there
lit things up for our
a
rural
gentleman that
areas.
was willing to provide us with the materials out of the goodness of his heart at no cost to the school?
Yeah, Ronnie, what's his name?
Yeah, Ron Angelo.
Wasn't that one of the proposals? He wasn't going to charge us anything?
Well, anything except cost.
Right.
So,
And
and
did
that-
we hear how much?
We have not met with him again since then.
Have we heard how much that cost would be?
No, because we haven't put together a scope of what we would expect from it. Are we talking a shirt program? Are we talking jackets? What do we really want to do as a
And I believe he
school
said
committee?
something about signs to be placed at the sporting events so that we could generate money for the sporting program,
Yep.
and we haven't pursued.
No, and again, someone's got to put together a program where we approach local businesses. We say to Ms. Loughlin, I'm sorry, old time. Are we going to say, are you willing to, advertise at our stadium? Or, what's your interest? Do you want the billboard? Do you want, a
Because
sideline?
we certainly have some passionate people in our
We do.
community, but we have a money problem.
Yeah,
We have a money problem. No matter how passionate we are, the logistics are what they are.
yeah.
So if there's a way for us, because there weren't very many people at that particular meeting, it was myself.
Yeah, I think there were only 2 or 3.
Yeah, it made tonight look like a balmy day that night. It was really awful.
Yeah, and again, that's what we've got to decide as a board. How do we want to
Right.
advertise?
Can we revisit that? Because
Oh, we
we are
will.
talking
We
about
will.
the need.
Yeah,
How-
we're
how
willing
many-
to have them back.
How many more meetings do we have before you have to make a decision about the budget?
We have 2 more, and then the meeting where we actually.
Okay, so we have 2 more meetings before you have to decide about the budget. And we have the potential for someone that's interested in maybe providing money for our sporting program. And right now, our athletic program is 75% of our extracurricular program budget. 75%? Yeah. So I would love, as a taxpayer, to see us be able to produce income. And I believe that gentleman seemed sincere that he wanted to make sure that he was not going to cost our
He is, and
district.
He's very active in our school community.
Right, but we only have 2 more meetings left. We only have 2 more meetings left before you guys have that horrible task.
We had one scheduled, but it was a snow day.
Yes, yes. So is there a way for us to make sure that we can get that information to the public so that they can see that
They can attend the
information?
meeting. I mean, our meetings will be advertised. If they can attend the meeting, they'll get
Right.
any information we
But
get.
that information that he had, was that on paper or was it all verbal?
All verbal.
But that's what he does for a living. He works for Adidas and other big
Right.
companies, and
Right.
he would get us some help from them also.
Right, that's what I was understanding, large companies, and he seems
That's why
quite willing.
He's not back yet either. It's pretty simple. If a guy doesn't want any money to do the job,
Mm-hmm.
and he can help us somehow, even if it's only a little bit, it's free.
Right.
That we should utilize.
We'll strive to get him at our next work session.
That'd be wonderful.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. Roger?
Yeah, so board committee meeting, is that just the new name for the work session?
That's always been the name.
Okay, because like on the board, I've heard it's a work session, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're interchangeable. Okay, anything else, Doctor? All right, we're going to take a 5-minute recess and then we'll start our public meeting, folks.